The Fifth Republic, France's current system of government, has weathered its share of storms since its inception in 1958. Over the decades, it has faced numerous challenges, from economic downturns to political scandals and even social upheavals. Each time it has managed to adapt and survive, proving the resilience of its democratic institutions. Yet, few moments have been as turbulent as the events of December 5, 2024. This day marked a significant turning point in French politics, a day that would be remembered for its intensity and the profound impact it had on the nation's future. On this day, Prime Minister Michel Barnier, a seasoned politician with a reputation for quiet competence, tendered his resignation to President Emmanuel Macron. Barnier, who had served in various governmental roles over the years, was seen as a stabilizing force in French politics. His resignation sent shockwaves through the political landscape. The catalyst? A resounding vote of no confidence from the French National Assembly, the lower house of parliament. This vote was not just a political maneuver, it was a clear message from the representatives of the people, reflecting the growing dissatisfaction with Barnier's leadership and policies. The political atmosphere in France had been simmering for weeks, fueled by growing discontent with Barnier's proposed austerity budget. The streets of Paris and other major cities were filled with protesters, their voices echoing the frustrations of a nation grappling with economic hardship. The budget, a tapestry of spending cuts and tax hikes, aimed to rein in France's ballooning deficit. It was a plan designed to stabilize the economy, but it came at a significant social cost. Many viewed it as an attack on the welfare state, a cornerstone of French society. However, for many citizens, it felt like a slap in the face, a betrayal of the social contract that underpins French society. The austerity measures were seen as disproportionately affecting the working class and the vulnerable, sparking widespread anger and resentment. As whispers of discontent morphed into a chorus of outrage, opposition parties sensed an opportunity. They rallied the public, organizing protests and speaking out against the government's policies, amplifying the voices of those who felt unheard. From the far-right national rally, led by the formidable Marine Le Pen, to the fragmented left-wing factions, a common enemy united them: Michel Barnier and his austerity agenda. This unlikely alliance of political adversaries highlighted the depth of the crisis. The stage was set for a dramatic showdown, a test of wills between the government and the governed. The outcome of this confrontation would not only determine the fate of Barnier's administration, but also shape the future direction of France, as the nation grappled with its identity and values in the face of economic and social challenges. Michel Barnier, a veteran of French politics, was no stranger to the corridors of power. With a career spanning several decades, Barnier has been a prominent figure in both national and European political arenas. His journey began in the early 1970s, and over the years, he has held numerous key positions that have shaped his reputation as a formidable statesman. A Gaullist by political lineage, he had served in various ministerial positions, earning a reputation as a shrewd negotiator and a staunch defender of French interests on the European stage. His roles included Minister of the Environment, Minister of European Affairs, and Minister of Foreign Affairs, each of which added to his extensive portfolio of experience. His crowning achievement, or perhaps his poisoned chalice, was his role as the European Union's chief Brexit negotiator. Tasked with the monumental challenge of navigating the complex and often contentious Brexit negotiations, Barnier's diplomatic skills were put to the ultimate test. His ability to maintain a united front among the EU member states while dealing with the UK's demands was a testament to his strategic acumen. When President Macron appointed Barnier as Prime Minister in September 2024, many saw it as a safe pair of hands, a steady presence to navigate the choppy waters of French politics. His appointment was widely regarded as a strategic move to bring stability and experience to the government during a period of significant challenges both domestically and internationally. However, Barnier's tenure as Prime Minister would be defined not by his experience or his European credentials, but by his controversial budget. The budget, which aimed to address France's economic challenges, sparked intense debate and opposition from various quarters, highlighting the deep divisions within French society. Barnier, a fiscal conservative at heart, believed that France's economic woes could only be addressed through a combination of spending cuts and increased revenue generation. His approach was rooted in the belief that fiscal discipline was essential for long-term economic stability and growth. He argued that painful choices were necessary to restore France's fiscal health and maintain its credibility on the international stage. Despite the controversy, Barnier remained steadfast in his conviction that his budgetary measures were crucial for the nation's future, demonstrating his unwavering commitment to what he believed was the right path for France. The austerity budget unveiled by Barnier's government sent shockwaves through French society. It proposed slashing public spending by a staggering 60 billion euros, targeting areas such as healthcare, education, and social welfare. To further bolster government coffers, a raft of tax increases was announced, impacting everything from income tax to fuel levies. The reaction was swift and furious. Labor unions, student groups, and ordinary citizens took to the streets, denouncing the budget as a heartless attack on the most vulnerable members of society. They argued that the burden of austerity was being unfairly shouldered by those least able to bear it, while the wealthy and powerful escaped relatively unscathed. Even within Barnier's own party, there was unease. Some deputies, while acknowledging the need for fiscal discipline, questioned the wisdom of such drastic measures. They feared that the social and political costs of the budget would far outweigh any economic benefits. Faced with mounting opposition and a real risk of his budget being defeated in Parliament, Barnier resorted to a controversial constitutional maneuver, Article 49.3. This decision was not made lightly, as invoking this article is often seen as a last resort, a desperate measure to push through legislation when all other avenues have been exhausted. The stakes were incredibly high, and the political atmosphere was charged with tension and uncertainty. This article, a relic of the Fifth Republic's creation, grants the Prime Minister the power to bypass parliamentary approval and force the passage of a law, provided that the government survives a subsequent vote of no confidence. It was designed to ensure stability and prevent legislative gridlock, but its use has always been contentious. Critics argue that it undermines the democratic process, concentrating too much power in the hands of the executive branch. Barnier's invocation of Article 49.3 was like throwing gasoline on a bonfire. The political landscape was already volatile, and this move only served to inflame passions further. It was a bold, some would say reckless decision that had immediate and far-reaching consequences. Opposition parties, already incensed by the austerity measures, accused the government of trampling on democratic norms and acting like an authoritarian regime. They saw the use of Article 49.3 as a blatant power grab, an attempt to silence dissent and push through unpopular policies without proper debate or scrutiny. They argued that the use of such a blunt instrument to ram through an unpopular budget was an affront to the French people. The streets filled with protesters, and the air was thick with chants and slogans demanding justice and accountability. The public outcry was deafening, and it was clear that Barnier had underestimated the strength of the opposition. The decision to invoke Article 49.3 was a calculated gamble, a high-stakes wager that backfired spectacularly. Barnier had hoped to secure his budget and stabilize his government, but instead he found himself at the center of a political firestorm. The backlash was swift and severe, and it became clear that this move had only deepened the divisions within the country. It galvanized the opposition, uniting them in their determination to bring down Barnier's government. Political rivals set aside their differences, coming together with a common goal: to challenge the legitimacy of Barnier's actions and restore democratic norms. The sense of urgency and resolve was palpable, and the stage was set for a dramatic confrontation. The stage was set for a final showdown, a vote that would determine the fate of the government. The tension was electric as both sides prepared for the decisive moment. The outcome was uncertain, but one thing was clear: the political landscape of France would be forever changed by the events that were about to unfold. In the wake of rising tensions, a no-confidence vote was called. The stakes couldn't be higher. Leaders from all sides gathered, their eyes set on the outcome that could reshape the political landscape. The air was thick with anticipation as votes were cast, one by one. Michel Barnier, a key figure in the negotiations, made a surprising move. In a dramatic turn of events, he chose to step down. His resignation sent shockwaves through the political arena, leaving many to wonder about the future direction of the party. President Emmanuel Macron found himself at a crossroads. With his approval ratings fluctuating and public opinion divided, the path ahead was anything but clear. His leadership was under scrutiny, and the question on everyone's mind was What would he do next? As the dust began to settle, the focus shifted to the future. What comes next? The political landscape was in flux, and new challenges loomed on the horizon. The decisions made in the coming days would shape the course of the nation for years to come.